Welcome back to another episode of Love and Law, episode 11. On episode 11.
11, 12, somewhere around there.
And today we'll be, Tessie and Charles will be discussing managing, I guess, the next stage after we talked about survival. Now we're going to be discussing how you manage those day to day activities, I guess, getting through.
Just the management. So in episode 1, we talked a lot about survival mode, and we were talking about it being a 4-part series of talking about how do you go from survival when you have tough spots in your life. How do you survive the tough spots, move into a place where you can manage those tough spots, keep moving forward, as Charles says, keep swimming, till you get to a place where you're thriving, and then get to a place where you're in a position to share and give back to the next person that's going through something to help them get through their tough spots in survival based on your experience and what worked for you and what didn't work for you. Sometimes the best information is what you wish you would not have done. The tough spots, not how do I do. The bigger question, the better question may be, what do you wish you would have known now? That's an interesting one. But so kicking that off, talking about management, let's start off talking about some of the things that you did to help manage. We were talking about in the first leg of the series, survival. We were talking about how to survive leaving that 9 to 5 and opening our business, how we survive blending our families. We talk about that a lot, just going through. And you were sharing that, between the breaks, Charles was saying that he struggled with calling it survival because you didn't feel like you were surviving.
I feel like survival was just, it's a real negative connotation. Or I don't, when I think of survival, it's literally the naked and afraid. I'm in the woods. How am I going to eat tomorrow? Or it, literally surviving, opposed to we're in a little bit of a difficult situation. We just need to get over the hump and keep pushing. Come up with a plan and keep pushing. So I didn't think of it as survival, and I understand some people it may be okay. How am I going to make this? You're living paycheck to paycheck, which we did that too. But
Okay, so I understand how survival is different for you, that you see it as a negative connotation. I was referring to and trying to explain to people how to just get through what you consider a tough spot and a major transition like 9 to 5 into, opening a business or just a unique situation that that needs and requires a big swing in mindset, day to day life, finances, all sorts of things. But now that you have survived it or managed it or made it through, like you said, what do you believe is the biggest factors that help you manage it now that you're out of survival mode and we have the business, we've made the transition, we're married and we are living in a blended family. We do have a very a new marriage. What do we do now? What did we do to help manage those things? I'm always interested in what your opinion, because these are not questions that you and I've talked about before today, like in reflection. How do you remember our management of those things?
repeat the question for me.
How did you manage? Let me take it one by one. How did you manage leaving your 9 to 5 to start a business with me? What did you do? What did we do from your perspective to manage the new business? How do we prepare for that?
How did we prepare for? I mean, when you're saying prepare for it, you're meaning as far as the steps that we took to make sure that the business was successful.
Yeah.
Well, we until we looked into getting a location, and we faked it until we made it. I guess you met people um, at the Barnes and Nobles, the Starbucks, those sort of things, and then I made sure that we had the necessary equipment and things that we needed to be prepared for court, to make sure that you're able to draft the documents, so that the IT side, we made sure that that was in place. Um, we tried to think of the things that we would need going forward and maybe strategically get those things as we could, as we were able to do that. Um, how did I manage? I mean, I
I
just
think some of the it's probably a more difficult question for you about managing the firm because a lot of the administrative part of the firm I took care of. A lot of the IT part of it you took care of it. So I was the lawyer and the administrative. We need this, we need that. As an attorney, I had to be because you can't own a law firm as a non-attorney. So it was a lot of taking classes, even at the CLE level, to learn the different things of on a smaller level, and you handled a lot of behind the scenes stuff like the IT stuff. In managing the business, it was more of a we leaned on your strengths to do some things and leaned on mine to do other things. Of course, I had to do the legal work.
we came up with a plan of what we.
Yeah, but that's just very vague to say we came up with a plan. Some of it we came up with a plan, and some of it life just happened, and Charles knows how to do it, or a lot of it was just you were the person available to do it. If I was in court, like there was years after we were out of the survival mode and finances are steady, I probably went 12 to 14 years of our 19-year relationship without my name being on a car because you were available to do it and you went and got the car and like, oh, this is what I want. You went and did that. The insurance, you set up insurance, you
Even the
did the,
marketing. I remember we
yeah.
did the marketing for a little bit, and the finding an office and getting the furniture and kind of just some of the smaller
Yeah, but even the IT
things.
stuff and setting up the pay per click and the marketing for the firm and a lot of the administrative parts of that and the hiring. When we got Gusto, you did the payroll part of it and the sales and stuff. So there was a lot of things that did not require a lawyer. We almost kind of fell into this role like if it required a lawyer, I did it, and a lot of everything else, you did it. And just kind of fell into those grooves. And that's kind of how we managed until Anicia went off to college. And then I was in a position where it was either I was going to go work for someone else or I was going to really put some energy and effort into growing the firm. And it kind of, you know,
And there was an attempt at that,
gelled.
short
It
lived.
was, it was. So, in managing the firm, what is your biggest takeaway from how we managed from where we started the firm with the one car and Barnes and Nobles to where we are now? How do we get through the management part of that? What do you think is the one biggest thing that you would suggest or was the biggest thing for you that you learned from managing the day to day with the business?
A coach,
Having coaches?
having coaches, that was, it helped you identify the holes in the bucket. It helped you organize things. It just opened your eyes to a lot of things that you hadn't thought about.
It did. It opened my eyes for a lot of things I hadn't thought about when it came time to scale the firm and grow the firm. But I didn't need a coach to start out. And that might be a big, huge task for someone just starting out. You could get a coach from the beginning, or you can start your business and educate yourself, like we were talking about before, in survival mode and how to get from here to there. And a coach is a great option. There's a lot of resources available on YouTube, TikTok, audiobooks, workshops, and things like that too. But just making sure that you know as much about business, whatever your business is, before you go into it, regardless of what the business is, just to educate yourself on marketing, staffing, cost of goods, all of those parts of the business before you jump out. Because you could spend $6 to make something or have a service and you charge $7 for it and you're only making $1 off of it. And so you just have to understand how business works to be successful in business.
So you said, and that's your biggest. You said the biggest takeaway between now and
I'm
starting
talking
that
about
business.
just in business. Of course, we talked about a lot of different things in survival mode. We talked about our new marriage. We talked about our children and blending families. And of course, we also talked about the business. So I'm talking about in addressing all of those factors, just talking about the business. How did you manage going from survival to where we're at kind of at an even kill before we got to the thrive? How did we manage? Like we opened the firm officially in 2009. I didn't get a business coach until 2000.
Mm-hmm.
How did I go from and then from 2009 to getting a business coach, and getting a business coach is what helped me thrive. But way before we start thriving, we were managing day to day. And in that sweet spot of managing, I was doing what I knew best. I was handling the parts that I excelled at, and you handled the parts that you excelled at. And then there was a time, of course, where you were gone for almost 10 years, and it was me in the firm by myself, and you were literally as needed. For 10 of those years, you were kind of as needed. I'll call you and ask you a question, or you come in every now and then. Because I think the majority of the 10 years, when I say you were kind of in and out of the business, you weren't there on a monthly basis, not physically. You weren't there monthly. It was hey, I have a call, or can you set this up behind the scenes? But it was established enough when you went to the fire department that I could manage the day to day without you being there every day, because I was just a solo and I had one part time
And
paralegal assistant.
my how to manage at that point was as needed. So
Hmm.
I kind of had my own career. So to say how did I manage it, what helped was I had 24 on, 48 off. So if it was something that took a little bit more time coming up, I had 2 days to kind of prepare for it. So it was manage. How did you manage? Do I need to handle it right now? And sometimes you would call me, look, I can't get to this and this, and we would take care of it. Otherwise, you knew that I had 2 days coming. So
So you had to prioritize the task and
and
responsibilities.
yeah, if it was something that needed to happen right now, we took care of it. If it could wait, then it waited.
Well, that's prioritizing the task, and that helps you manage and come to a calm place. Oops, sorry. Help you come to a calm place and kind of get things organized a lot better when you can control your calendar and prioritize what needs to be done and by when.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't always been as easy with the blended family.
In what way?
Well, managing a blended family, there, there has been, I feel like the business was easier than the family. It was always easy to manage the children in the house, but it hasn't always been as easy managing the adults and blending our family that way. And so managing that was a lot more difficult
You
for
say the
me.
adults.
In laws, your
Mm.
family, my
It's
family,
still a work in progress.
friends. I mean, and just friends, family, just managing people. Managing children is easy.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, kind of do what you say. You redirect them a little bit, but managing our growth and our relationship and the people around us, that was a little more difficult for me.
Mm-hmm. In what way?
I think my expectations, which is always a hard thing for me to manage, even being married to you was a big adjustment for me to manage, because I have my way of thinking and how I want things, and you have your way of how you want things, and trying to literally become one was challenging for me. Some of it was our age difference,
Mm-hmm.
33 to 25. Some of it was just background, just me growing up in the South in a big family, and I felt it was very different from the opportunities that you had with your sister and your mom. Like, you guys did very different things than I did growing up. My idea of parenting was very different from yours. Our core values on parenting were the same. Our day to day on how we do those things, I thought, was very different. And so just that was very different. Just even your family, even for me, adjusting to your family. I think your family is very close knit. I thought it was interesting. Like the first time we had a Christmas party, and you had family members that came from New York for a housewarming a Christmas party, and I thought that was amazing and intense all at the same time. And I remember you telling me, like, even when you had your, I guess, housewarming when you and Nicole bought your first house, and the aunts and everybody that came down for a housewarming. When we met, I thought it was crazy that you're like, oh, my buddy's daughter's having a birthday party, and we went to Indiana for anything to support someone in a whatever graduation, a 10-year-old birthday party. I think that level of support was not something that I had ever experienced or witnessed, and I thought it was cool. Like, we had a party. You had a friend that lived in Texas, and Bird traveled from Texas or Ohio to come to a party, or Finest or Swanee
We
would
came
come.
from Ohio,
Your
Texas, all
uncles
over.
would come from, like, I just had never seen that. So just it was different. It was very different. Welcome, very when we had Charles, your sister came from New York to meet him, and I thought that, and I still talk about that now. Like, that was wild to me because I want to say she caught a bus. She got on the bus from New York, and it was that important for her to come meet him. He was not even a week or two old, and I thought that was amazing. And it was just, but it was just very different for me to manage how different our lives were, and to just blend that all into us, and creating us. And there was a lot of differences. Like, when you were growing up, you couldn't miss church. We talk about that a lot. You were growing up, you couldn't miss church. I was growing up, we never went to church. It was just different. I'm just so putting it all together and trying to manage all the different experiences and expectations and how we parent, and I over explain everything, and you are like, raise that because I said so. But that doesn't work for me because I said so. It's not.
Some of it probably my parents knew me, and if you explained too long, I done tuned out and forgot what you was talking about. So, that's unfortunately the part of my personality. Then, so yeah, you give me that long explanation, huh?
Yeah, so I think just come up some of the managing managing different, finding ways to get through whatever's right in front of you. And for me, it was always based in resolutions and problem solving. And that's how I manage anything. And so before I met you, the way that I managed being a single mom, or going through law school, or passing the bar, and there were just very simple day to day little things that I had to do to manage to get through. Because in law school, and that was probably one of the toughest, most focused times of my life, my ex husband and I were both in law school, and so I saw him for maybe an hour at the end of the day. And so I had to get up and get 5 kids dressed for school, off to school, then go to law school, pick them all up at the end of daycare, come home and do their homework and their hygiene, and read them a story and put them to bed, and then study for 3 or 4 hours. Go to bed somewhere between 12:30, 1:30. Get up at 6 and do it again.
Mm.
And then trying to manage that, there were, no dressers. People laugh, but we didn't have dressers. It was easier to just put their clothes in totes with stickers on them, and to make big meals and freeze it. Make spaghetti, a lot of spaghetti, and freeze it. A lot of chili and freeze it, or a lot of beef stew or chicken and rice or whatever it was, and frozen meals, and just finding the little shortcuts to simplify things.
And see now where we're at now,
Hmm.
to me, it's harder to manage than any of the previous things. This is, and I guess you have, each situation prepares you for the next. But where we are now
Hmm.
with the business, grandbabies, the dogs, Charles, the house, everything, this is a lot more to manage than anything it seems like prior. And maybe those little things have helped prepare me for it now, but no, this is a lot more taxing now where we are than any
But
of the.
previous times.
Hmm.
But what makes it more difficult for you to manage now?
I feel like it's a lot more things to juggle. It's a lot more things that I have. I don't. I guess responsible for.
Hmm.
Th-
Hmm.
This is this is it's you get through and just like I said, just keep swimming. But it's a whole lot more to manage now.
It is a lot different. a different set of skills to manage what we have now because the firm is in a
Organization.
different the firm is in a different place. And for me, I thrive in all of everything that's going on right now. And I know that it's an adjustment for you to manage it. For me, it doesn't present as a challenge. It's more, it feels like a puzzle. And it's more strategic. And I'm figuring out the puzzles. And it's fun for me to grow the business and manage it. And then, like I keep saying, you have to learn how to pivot because we were not expecting teeing. And then very shortly after that, we got custody of her sister. And so we needed a different house. And then we moved into that house and we closed on this house a month ago and moved here. So it's been a lot of adjustments, but I feel like I'm built for this. Like an adjustment, a move, a pivot, I've done it my whole life. So it doesn't throw me. I'm more excited about what's to come and what we're doing. And I can compartmentalize things very easily. Focus on this and then move to the next thing and cut it off at a hard stop onto the next, cut onto the next. And it's the only way I keep the needle moving.
Hmm.
And so it's just how I've learned to manage through it. And at the level that we're operating now and the goals that I have now, it has been intensified for you because of my request that you do it with me.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be easy if you chose not to do it with me. It would be it would be a lot less busy for you. Like if you weren't gonna, like I'm the CEO of the firm. A lot of a lot of the decisions that I need to make as the CEO of the firm, I'm leaning on you to help me make those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
If I made those decisions independent of you, without you, you wouldn't have so much going on. I'm bringing a lot more to you.
I don't, the decision part that you're saying, I don't, that's the easier part. The length of time that you want to talk about it, yeah, at times that's a lot. But the day-to-day things that still have to happen in that process, that is a lot more to manage.
See, but this is where the management portion comes down because this is where we have the conversations about self-inflicted stress. And so some of the things that we have that are time consuming, like, oh, it's a lot to manage. Oh, I will eliminate it. If I can't manage it easily, I'm just going to cut it out. Or I'm going to simplify it again, all the way down to the lowest common factor. Like we have the dogs, like you said, the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
This is a conversation that we have all the time. If you complain about the dogs and not having time for the dogs, simple, don't have dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple for me.
Agreed.
If I don't have time to clean, let's hire a housekeeper to clean. If I don't have time to cook, let me hire someone to help cook. Let me hire somebody to help do this. And now we have the resources that we can bring in help because the business takes a lot more time. Mm-hmm. So it's how I suggest we manage. You finally agreed to have someone take care of the yard on a permanent basis. And so you don't have to cut the grass or do the hedges and all this kind of stuff.
It's just not possible.
But I'm just saying there's a person that you're like, oh, well, we should have them come wash the car place and stuff. And this is all great. First world problems, I understand. But I'm saying the time restraints to manage the children and the business and have a date night. You don't have time to come home and clean the house, or you don't have time to come home and walk the dogs and cut the grass. And when you are spending 40, 50 hours a week running a business, on a Saturday, I don't want to spend my Saturday mopping my floor. And again, this imposter syndrome, and sometimes there's a guilt that comes with that for me as a mom, as a wife. You feel like you should be the one to clean your own house, and you should be the one to cook all your meals, and you should be the one cutting the grass or washing the car and all these stereotypical. But again, as the owners of a multi-million-dollar business and employees, it is our responsibility to make sure that we're doing that right. And so when you spend all this time and energy to make this money, you should be able to enjoy it and us not feel guilty about how we have to manage our day to day, because we are at a place where we do need help, because we have the business and all the responsibilities and the size of this house. We need somebody else to help us with
I
it.
don't ever feel guilty with
I
getting
do.
help.
I do.
I don't that part. No, it's just I guess some of the things. No, I like washing my car. I don't mind if somebody else does it, but I like to do it to make sure it's done the way that I want. And I understand you can get somebody else to
But
do
you
it.
don't always have time to do it.
That part.
But whether it's you
It's
don't
not
have the
a
time or you like it. I like to cook. I don't have time to shop for the food, then cook it, then clean up the mess after it. And sometimes it's easier to pick up delivery or DoorDash, because going to the grocery store, that's not on the way home.
that takes a whole lot of your time. Then you got to cook the food,
And then I have
prepare
to
for the
cook
food.
it and clean it and clean up the mess after it. So this meal is 4 or 5 hours, and I have to choose. We have to manage our time. That 5 hours we could have spent playing Uno No Mercy with Charles,
Mm-hmm.
or teaching the girls how to ride their bike, or whatever whatever that is, or even us going on a date. It's about managing where you are in that moment. This would not even have been a conversation 8 years ago. Oh, we're gonna hire somebody to cut the yard, or we're gonna hire someone to wash our car, or
Yeah, but we didn't have as
clean the
many
house.
responsibilities
And we
either.
damn sure didn't have as much money. And so
So it's a
somewhere,
trade off: time for money, money for time. Which one?
yeah. And so that, but I'm saying that's all part of how you manage looking at the situation of where you are. Like, you like to cook. I like to cook. You like to grill. You like to bake.
I like to eat, and I like it to taste
True.
the way that I want it to. So no, I don't mind someone else cooking. I just expect for it to taste a
But
certain way.
but you don't have the time to do that now. So again, you can spend this 6 hours on a date night, or one on one with Charles,
Managing your
or
time.
whatever. You have to pick and choose what's the most important things. And for me, it all comes back to when I am Lucy's age,
Mm-hmm.
his grandmother, and I am looking back over my life, and I have my children and great grandchildren and great grandchildren around me. The things that are going to be most important to me is how I spent that time with Marley, and the relationship I have with Marley, my 8-year-old granddaughter, and Tegan and Amara, Charles, like my children, my grandchildren, you. Oh, remember we went to China? Remember we walked the Great Wall? Remember we went and saw the monasteries and on those mountains in were we in Greece?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The
Mm-hmm.
whoa, those moments is what I will reflect back on at 80 and on my deathbed and all of that. Not, I sure cleaned that bathroom well. That the way that I made that floor glisten, that's not going to be a part of my legacy. And so when I have a Saturday afternoon, I'm more focused on making memories. And sometimes the memory is not something as huge as walking the Great Wall. Sometimes the memories are just the conversations that I have with Charles, where we're in the car and we're singing on the way to school and listening to his crazy music, and him waking up because he made us a new mug cake
Mm.
with marshmallows and everything he threw in the pot. Here, mom, dad, I made y'all a cake. Those are the things that matter. And so managing our life, our finances, our day to day, so that we can do those things are what has been my focus. And in getting to a place to manage your day to day, to put you in a position to do what is most valuable to you. If it is your time with your family, then you have to learn how to weed out everything else. Everything else is just noise. If it's growing your business, and it will change, what your focus on the management for us has changed. When we first got Tegan and Amara, we were all in, and there were days and weeks that the business took a back seat. There are times where health of a family member took a priority. There were times where we got ready to buy this house. Everything took a priority besides getting focused for this purchase financially and documents, whatever. So you have to adjust what you're focusing on to manage the noise. I mean, that's my I think the thing that you started the episode saying is being able to move around in whatever you have going on, that being able to pivot and it changes whatever the management is focused on. It is coming full circle. I agree. There are times that we've had to focus when we've had tough spots in our marriage and we're not seeing eye to eye. And it was, we need to focus on this. And sometimes it meant going to therapy. Sometimes it meant talking to an elder family member. Sometimes it meant going away for a weekend. Sometimes it meant, hell, you being over here and me being over here while we have a moment to breathe, and you'll get in the car and take a ride, and I vent to a girlfriend or something. Just whatever the situation is in that moment, how do you manage that moment and then move to the next? Because there's going to always be some level of management of how to get through it, and you're in the calm space and now things are more settled, and just learning the tools to help you manage it. For some people, it's exercise or a creative outlet or church. Just finding the things that help you get to that calm space where you can kind of quiet and settle yourself. What helps you settle yourself?
I don't know. Said what helps you settle yourself? I mean, again, right now it's one of those situations where you have a goal in mind. This is the goal at the end, and it is just keep swimming.
But when it gets heavy, how do you settle yourself? Because you're not always swimming. You're not just keep swimming. You have to take a pause. No one can swim forever. How do you pause?
Remind myself that there's a goal at the end.
How do you settle yourself?
Don't know. That's something that I'm still transitioning and trying to figure out at the moment. Because again, right now where we are, this is probably the closest thing to where you said survival mode is. And it's okay. This is the plan. This is the goal at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And think about the big picture that, hey, 6 months from now, this is where it's going to be. So you just keep swimming. A year from now, this is where we want to be. But how do you settle yourself? As of right now, I haven't settled. There is a go to sleep. That's what settles you. And then think about what to do the next day.
So for me, the way that I settle myself is by being prepared. And I have a plethora of audiobooks. I like to learn and listen to techniques on how to be better at leadership, how to be better at running my business, how to be a better parent, better wife. And so listening to audiobooks of people who have done it before me is huge. We go to a lot of workshops to learn from other people how to prioritize, how to calendar. There's a lot of different workshops that I have attended that help me prepare for where we are now, to help me manage where we are. There are so many people that have done what we do, and by that I mean managed a blended family, who have been married longer than 18 years, who have a successful business, who've taken custody of grandchildren. There's nothing unique about what we have to do. There's other people that's done it, and so I lean on them for their guidance and how they made it through. I have to give myself grace when I fall short, which is daily. And that helps me get through and manage it day to day. I have to remind myself that I'm human. I have to remind myself that I'm not a perfect wife, mother, business owner. I'm not a perfect attorney. I'm not a perfect person. And it is a constant reminder to myself to give me grace and to give you grace. Because sometimes you get on my very last nerve. And I remind myself that not probably 2 seconds before I had that thought, was probably on your last nerve. And so I have to remind myself when I get aggravated with you. Like, there's times that I will literally walk in the closet and like, these shoes are right here. And then you look 2 feet left and there's my suit right there next to it. And so reminding what your cousin Brandon told me, I have to remind myself of the intentions of people and not what they did, but what was their intentions. And so just grace is just, if I could get another tattoo, that would be grace and serenity. Those two things, keeping those at the forefront of my mind, is what helps me manage day to day, to have the grace. Even when Charles had his meltdown yesterday, giving him some grace and remembering he's 10 and not taking it personal and just let me take a break, let me reset, take a beat, take a breath, and where's the grace in this? And that is what helps me settle down. That and a glass of wine or, a glass of tequila.
I
Somewhere in between those things,
I think it and I don't know, maybe it's just dumb luck. Some of the books
Some of
that you
that.
said, some of the books that you said, some of the things that we do, there'll be little gems or little things that I might get that phone call from somebody that says, "Hey, well, this is what you need to do, and you guys are doing this," and it's just that affirmation or that thing that says, "Okay, just keep swimming. You're still swimming in the right direction." Or
Mm-hmm.
it's that book that gives you that affirmation. What exactly it is that helps me get to that place. The thing that I would say more of it right now is just the luck of getting those things when you need them. Whether it's you might have a prayer for the day that gives you that peace of mind, or it may be something that Tessie says. I don't have a answer for something specifically that does it. They just seem to come at the right time when I need it, and it'll help me get over that hump to the next day. And that's kind of been what it is. But I don't have that specific thing that I can lean on and say, well, this does it, or this does it.
Like you said, you just keep swimming. You get up, you move forward. Step left, move forward. Step left, move forward. Keep swimming. And for you, it's keep swimming. And for me, it's step left, move forward. But having that drive to see it through will help you manage the day to day. And as long as you get up with the focus to move the needle forward, if you could just do one positive thing a day to take care of yourself and then others so that you have something to pour into others. Start with yourself, but if you and again, I'm terrible at it. I know I need to do it, but put yourself first or at least consider yourself and all of that. I think that it just all comes back to grace and like you said, having something to lean on, whether it's the Bible or a support person to talk through those things has been really crucial. I think for me, and this is going to sound very mushy, but I think that it would not be possible for me to do all of the things that I do if I didn't have you supporting me, whether it's with the girls, whether it's with the firm. And when I say the girls, I mean the babies. But the firm, everything that I have ever set out to do, you're always there as a huge support, a cheerleader, a fan, telling me I can do things that I know I can't do, but you think I can. Like, you can do it, you can do it. Like, maybe not. But I just think having that life partner and friend that will support you, good, bad, and indifferent, just whatever it is. If you have that person that you can lean on to be a support, and it could be a therapist, a church member, family member, or your spouse, but having someone that believes in you will help you manage the day to day in a way that makes it easier. And I think that's the thing that has helped me manage what we have always faced over the last 19 years. It's just having a partner that I know will face it with me. And that makes it a lot easier. You say it doesn't feel like survival. It's just okay, we gotta go through this. But for me, again, having that partner that sees it that way, we're good. We just gotta figure this piece out. We just gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving. So
Agreed.
I think the next thing, once you have that in mind and you keep that as a forefront and you keep that as a focus, it sets you up to thrive, which is what we're talking about next. How do we go from survival to managing day to day and to being in a place where now we are thriving and now we are, where we have set out to be when we started this firm back in 2009. And so, how do you thrive? How do you get there? How do you not just do it and keep swimming, but how do you finish the race? Or not finish that, because even when you finish that finish line, you're gonna be looking for the next one. And the line always moves. It's like, how do we get to the first million? And then it's how do we get to 5 million? How do we get to 10 million? How do we go from having a successful fifth grader to having a successful high school student and successful, well-rounded person, whether he goes to college or not. But the goal moves as they move. And so just always being prepared for what we want to do next and where we want to go. So, that's the next episode. How do we thrive? Tips on how to help you thrive, how to get from here to there. So, like, love, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Hey, fellas, it's Charles again with TDE, Family Law and Divorce Attorneys. I just wanted to give you a little bit of information, tell you what we're here to do, but I understand that you're probably looking at this because you're going through some type of situation that we can assist you with, whether it's your baby mom, whether it's your soon-to-be ex-wife, whether it may be just a parenting thing that you're going to help another family member with out. It's trying, it's stressful. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so nothing's going to happen quickly. The other thing that I want to point out to you is we're here as a resource. Whether you watch our social media ads, whether you tune into our podcast, you can like and subscribe, but hopefully from watching this, there's going to be more information that you can get. One way that you can get one of those resources is just by calling our office. We have people that are there to answer the phones, and they may be able to point you in the right direction. I know that you may have friends or buddies that have went through the court system and you're like, I'm absolutely against child support, but your child may be used as a pawn, or maybe your kindness is being taken as hostage. I'm here to tell you that me and our group of attorneys with a greatly skilled team are here to help you. Look us up on the website, and then from there you can schedule a call. Yes, sometimes these things can be expensive, but anything that you feel is worth it, you always find a way. And if you find your way to our law firm, we are here to help you through it.